Okay, here's the disclosure statement. Okay, so to obtain the continuing education credit, you just need to be present for the entire presentation. And please, hopefully you were here. Most all of you have been here for at least 5 minutes. So thank you for that. The link is here. I'll also put it in the chat box at the end. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to Alberta Vicente or myself, Jamie Olson at ihs.gov. Okay, thank you for putting in the chat where you're from. That's awesome. It's fun to look at that. Okay, so I would love to introduce our presenter today. Ms. Caitlin Blowers is a diagnostic radiologic technologist and mammographer at the Red Lake Service Unit. She has been serving the Red Lake community for the last 2 years and was recently named the lead mammography technologist for the radiology department there. Her major duties involved mammography tracking in compliance with MQSA and ACR standards. She's also assisted with increasing breast cancer screening rates and compliance rates. Caitlin earned her radiologic technology degree through St. Cloud State University and Avera Sacred Heart Hospital School of Radiologic Technology in Yankton, South Dakota. So Katie, I am going to stop sharing my screen now. If you could share yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Jamie, for that introduction. Like you said, my name is Caitlin Blowers, and I am the lead tracking technologist here at the Red Lake Indian Health Services Hospital. So a little bit about Red Lake. So we are in the northern part of Minnesota. As you can see by the green arrow here, we are on a couple of the bigger lakes up here. Our land base, we cover about almost 1,300 square miles in the reservation that we are on. We have over 15,000 enrolled members at the Red Lake Band of Chippewa Indians here. And our population as of December 6th of 2022, we have more than 7,600 members. And then we are also a federal and a tribal hospital. So today with our PowerPoint, I'm going to go over kind of a few things, the best practices in mammography, kind of what I here do at the Red Lake Hospital. We do have a very high GIPR rate. I'm very proud of that. At the end of our fiscal year in 2018, our GIPR rate was at 59%. And now at the end of 2023, our GIPR rate has increased from 59% to 71.8%. And the national target for 2023 was 28.7. So I'm very proud to say we have built up this program quite well in the last few years, and we are continuing to do that again this year. Last year, at the end of 2022, we did about 720 mammograms, and we are right on track to do the exact same thing again this year. So this PowerPoint kind of goes through a few things of what I do here at the Red Lake Hospital, how we increase our GIPR rate, and how, kind of what we do on a daily basis. First, we're going to go through the importance of scheduling. Scheduling is very important here at the Red Lake Hospital. Our mammography room also shares a room with our ultrasound. So we kind of have the 2 units in the same room, kind of makes scheduling very important for us. With actually scheduling our mammograms, it helps to create a better efficiency and workflow in our department. It also allows for more patients to be scheduled and also time for patients who come as walk-in. We do have patients who come from our clinic if they're going to see their provider the same day, and sometimes they come over and come see us. So scheduling also allows us to help kind of work around any scheduling conflicts that we would have in our department. And scheduling also helps us to accommodate all the patients who want a mammogram. We do have some, like I said, who come from the clinic, some who are scheduled. It just allows us to be able to accommodate everybody. Scheduling also helps us to gain the trust of the patients, and it shows them that we care about their health. It kind of shows that we want them to come in, we're really trying to get them, and that we also care about their health as much as they do. So scheduling the process. So I'm going to kind of go through a little bit of the process that I do here. First, what I do is I create a panel in our eye care system. I will show you this system a little bit later in the slides here, of all the women that are over the age of 40 who are due for a mammogram in the next month. So this is created, and then from this panel that is created, I send out letters to these ladies about 1 to 2 weeks before the beginning of the month, just kind of letting them know, hey, you're due for a mammogram. Please call us at your convenience to schedule. And next, what I do is I send out a list, or I make a list of patients that are created within an Excel spreadsheet and kind of the date that they are due. And then after I create this list, I do start calling patients. We call patients about 1 to 2 weeks before their due date and try to get them scheduled for their mammogram. Getting them scheduled a couple weeks out allows them to kind of look at their schedule, have a better idea of when they can, if they're super busy. And it also helps us to have a better workflow in our department. After these patients are scheduled, I do send them a letter of the appointment, just as a reminder to kind of let them know that, hey, this is the date that we said and the time. And then also the day before they come for their mammogram, a reminder call is also made to the patient by either myself or the receptionist that we have here to kind of confirm their appointment. Some patients aren't able to come and some are, so we try to confirm their appointment and make sure that everything works smoothly for the next day. So after the patient comes to their appointment, what I usually do is I also enter their name in another Excel spreadsheet that I keep. This spreadsheet has the date that their mammogram was done, the date of their previous mammogram, the BioRads code after the mammogram gets read, and then which tech performed the mammogram, and just a couple other things, kind of some housekeeping notes. These results are then tracked, and I make a note in the patient's chart of the type and the due date of the follow-up appointment that is needed, whether it's in a couple weeks, in 6 months, or they're good for another year. The patient will then receive the results of their mammogram as a letter in the mail. This is usually mailed out within 30 days of their mammogram. And if the patient is due for a short-term follow-up, I also track these on a different list, and the same process is followed as scheduling, where I would send them a letter, I would make them call them and make an appointment, and then I would send those out. So if a patient doesn't come to their mammogram, and they don't call and reschedule, this is documented as a no-show or refusal that is made in their chart. The patient is then called. I call them in the next couple of days to remind them of that they're due, or see if they can reschedule for me. In Red Lake here, what we usually do is we follow about a 3 no-show rule. So a patient has about 3 different times they can no-show for a mammogram before I make a note in their chart and have them that they are refusal or they haven't came. And then after I do that, I usually call them in about a month or 2. I kind of give them a little bit of time to see if a different time or a different day or something would work for them. We never really actually give up on our patients. I always kind of keep a list of who is due and when their last one was, just to kind of know, hey, if I ever see them, if they ever come over to the clinic, or if they ever come get x-rays for me, maybe we can sneak them in to get a mammogram at the same time. So documentation, I'm going to go through a little bit of the documentation that I do here at Red Lake. First, what we're going to do is how I document historical procedures, such as other mammograms, biopsies, anything that the patient has. So first, you're going to start out in the patient's chart. Once you have the correct patient selected, you will go to the IPL tab, which is right underneath the patient's name. And then underneath that IPL tab to the right-hand corner is the historical procedure. So we'll also click on that tab next. After you click on that historical procedures, you will go to the drop-down menu that selects the radiology button. And after you hit that radiology button, you will also select the add button. To the right of the screen, you'll see a new box pop up, and it will say the type of exam that you are charting on, and you will click on the mammogram bilateral screening, and then you can also type in the date that it was completed. And if it was completed at a different IHS facility, you will find a drop-down list of all those different facilities, or if it's a different one, like for us here, we typically go to a different Sanford. I will click on the other box, and then I will type in the Sanford name or the name of the hospital. Once you have all these all the ones documented that you want, they will show up in the bottom, just kind of like this, showing the date that they had it done, the type of exam, and then the other facility that this was done at. Next, I'm going to show you how I document our phone calls and our letters. So I document patient phone calls and letters kind of in their chart, typically the same way, under the same starting. So what you're first going to do is, again, go into the patient's chart, and then underneath the visit not selected is I will go into the notes tab. In that notes tab, once I have that highlighted, I will go to the visit tab, and I will type in, under that visit tab, I will type in a phone call for Red Lake. This phone call is not a billable visit for the patient. This just kind of helps let the doctors know, and also myself, as I'm going through the patient's chart, that I have made a phone call to the patient, or I also sent them a letter. So once you have that phone call typed in, you can then hit OK on the bottom right-hand corner. And after you have that, it will go back to the normal notes tab. You will then go under the left-hand corner, and you will hit the new note tab. This little box is going to pop up next. And then you will type in the radiology patient notification. And this is where we will find that phone call tab and also the letter documentation. So once you have that radiology patient notification, a new box is going to pop up, and it will show that you are making a chart or making a chart note in the patient's record here. You will start by selecting all of this little template is going to pop up. You'll start by selecting the radiology department. And then it will show up with the patient's name, their address, date of birth. Then you can click on the next two buttons underneath, which are either to document the telephone documentation or the letter documentation. So first we're going to go through the telephone. So you will then click on the telephone button, and right underneath it will be the telephone numbers that you used. This is a great way to kind of show this is a number that I got a hold of the patient on and talked to them at this number, or hey, this one doesn't work and I had to leave a message. This is a great way for us that we use all the time just to make sure I have the correct patient's number. So you can select the number that you use to contact the patient. You will then go underneath that, and you will select the radiology department personnel, and then it will typically say that it attempted to contact the patient by telephone. Then I go through after that and document for the purpose of the call. So typically what I do is if I'm reminding a patient of their mammogram, I type to inform the patient of the mammogram appointment, or I select the other button and I select to schedule a mammogram, knowing that I scheduled the patient for their mammogram appointment. Once you have it all scheduled, it will pop up underneath the patient was apprised of the following appointment, all the list of the future appointments that they have, whether it's the eye doctor, their primary doctor, they will all show up there. And you can select the future appointment tab right underneath that, and you'll select the mammogram one. Next, you can go through the contact status. So this is kind of how you talk to the patient, whether you left a voicemail for them. You can say that you left a voicemail of the date and time, that you left a voicemail for the patient to call you back, that the patient called you, that you were successful contacting the patient, or you even talk to the patient's family. You kind of type anything in that little box there. Underneath that one, you will go to the disposition of the call. So right here, you can document whether the patient will keep their appointment, whether the scheduled appointment was canceled, they rescheduled, or you let the provider know that they refused their appointment. And underneath that one will be the comments. This is a big section that I usually use a lot when a patient refuses for me, or any notes that the patient said, whether they said, I can't call you right now, maybe I'll call you back, or anything like that. That's usually what I type into the comment section. And then underneath that, you on the bottom right-hand corner, you will click the OK button to finish your telephone documentation. We are going to go through the letter documentation next. So right underneath that telephone documentation and the couple slides ago, there will be the letter contact documentation. So what you're first going to do is select the radiology department, and then the date that the letter was sent on will pop up next. After that, you will find the future appointments that you were scheduled. You can select that box and just make sure in the letter that you sent or the documentation that these are the future appointments that the patient was notified of. You then can select the address that the patient letter was sent to, just kind of confirming that the address is correct. Or if there is a different address not listed there, you can also type that in as well. And then you will hit the OK button after that to save all your documentation. And then this is what it's all going to look like once you have everything done. It'll show you made the documentation note, the date that you made it, and anything else that you put in there. So with this template that I used for the phone call and the phone call and the letter documentation, this was all set up by our clinical applications coordinator, and this is specific to Red Lake. So we worked with them very closely. They are excellent at what they do, and they help us go through and format this to what we use typically here at Red Lake or any other site. Next, I'm going to show you how I document in my no-show tab when a patient doesn't come to their mammogram. So that you first start out again in the patient's chart, and then right underneath their name, you will find the Visit Elements tab. Underneath the Visit Elements will be the screening. You will also click on the screening one. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, underneath the personal health, that will be where you do most of your documentation. So we're then going to go to the drop-down menu and select the refusal underneath that personal health. And then once you have that refusal selected, you will click on the Add button. Once you have that Add button, a new box just like this one is going to pop up, and you'll kind of go through and document. So you're going to select the mammogram button on the very top for the refusal type. And then next to that mammogram, once you have it selected, you will select the 3 little dots button right to the next. It'll kind of be another drop-down menu. For that drop-down menu for Red Lake here, we have about 3 different options you can choose. Typically, the ones that we usually choose is the mammogram screening with CAD. And once you have that selected, you can hit the OK button. And then after that, you'll go through the next couple options there. Underneath the reason, you can select the reason that the patient no-showed, such as the patient was non-compliant, and kind of a general. That's typically what I use here at Red Lake. You can then also select the date that they refused, and then you can also make any comments, such as the patient wanted to wait till November, they wanted to wait till next year, anything like that. And then once you have everything typed in and anything that you want there, it will show up just like this underneath that bottom, that personal health tab again. And this is also the same documentation I go through for a patient who refuses their mammogram. So whether they no-show for the mammogram or they refuse, I also do this in their patient's chart. Next, I'm going to kind of go through a little bit on eye care. So this is eye care. I think we had discussed it was potentially throughout the whole IHS system. If not, this is what I use here in Red Lake. It is a great way for me to kind of create those panels for patients who are due, patients who had their mammogram, patients who no-showed for their mammogram. And this little screen grab here, you can kind of see all the tabs that I had open and the different panels. So it will show you the name, it'll show you if they're last updated, who created it, who's the owner of it, and then what date it was last opened. So if you're going to create a new panel, what you will do is go underneath that panel list on the top left-hand corner and select the new button. Once you have that selected, a panel, this new box is going to pop up. In that new box on the very top, you're going to type in your panel name. Underneath that, you can type in any description, anything that you want to help you kind of remember what that panel is for. Once you have that selected, there are also different parameters and different population searches you can do underneath that left-hand side there. And then here you can kind of create any different filter, parameter, anything you want for your panel, such as only women over 40, only women under 40, any different type that you could want. Once you have that selected, you will click on the OK button on the bottom right-hand corner. And next, to add your new patients to this panel, what you're going to do is see here that the panel name pops up. It will have you the total, it will show you the total number of patients, and then the last date it was updated by. To add patients to your panel, you will go underneath that patient list and click the Add button. Once you have that Add button selected, a new box just like this one will pop up for you. You will then type in the patient's number. Once you have the correct number, you will click the Find button, and then a list of patients, such as this one, is going to show up with the patients who have that same number or just slightly different. And once you have your correct patient selected, you will hit the Add button on the bottom right. And then once you have all the different patients that you want to be added to the panel, it will show up just like this. It'll show kind of their age, name, date, and all the different parameters associated with this patient and what's up a different panel. So again, what I use this for is to show patients, create a panel for patients who had a mammogram, patients who don't have, who were a no-show, patients who came to our clinic for the day but didn't come over to my department to come see me for a mammogram. I also use it for patients who no-showed for their ultrasound for that day as well. iCare is great. It allows me to create letters. So I use this to create my letters to send to patients, saying that you're due, or we missed you recently, we'd like to come back. iCare also is great. You can virtually create any different type of panel that you want with any different parameters. Next, I'm going to show you MagView. So MagView is another way that I use to create letters. I do all my patient tracking in MagView. And MagView is a service contract that we here at the Red Lake purchase. So not everybody's going to have it, but I love it. It's been awesome for us and what I do. So this year, once you get logged into MagView, this is a kind of we'll show you exactly what you can do. So you can browse all the different patients. You can open a certain work list, add documentation or dictation to the patient's mammogram they had. You can track your follow-up patients or anything like that. MagView is great. It also will show me monthly and yearly reports or anything that MQSA requires for tracking purposes. So here is a list of all the different reports that we can do within MagView. These are all the ones that I use for monthly, for yearly, anything like that. Next, I'm going to show the main way that we talk to our patient is through phone calls. Phone calls is one of the biggest ways that we use here at Red Lake to keep in communication with our patients. All of our technologists and our receptionists here make phone calls to patients. They can be reminder phone calls of their appointments. They can be to schedule and to reschedule appointments if a patient needs. We also use them to communicate results or any actions that are needed or what are the next steps for the patients. And then we also use phone calls to answer any questions patients have. We also do letter documentation. This is another way, a great way for us to talk to our patients. Sometimes they don't have a great phone call that's listed, or we can't reach them at this number. So a letter is a great way that we use to keep in contact with our patients. The types of letters that we send out are ones that show what patients do for their mammogram in the next month, patients who no show for their mammogram, patients who were in the clinic but didn't come over saying, hey, you are due, please come see me or call me. And then any panel that is created in iCare is also used to create a patient letter. The result letters that we also send to patients are created through MagView, but those are a great way to show the patient, hey, these are the results of your mammogram. If you have any questions or anything, please call, feel free to ask anything. So patient communication, community health visits. So we here at Red Lake have community health workers. They are contracted through our tribe, but they are awesome tools that we use to help keep in contact with patients and locate any that are unable to be reached. So what the community health worker do, first we start by putting a request in by the patient's provider for a home visit by the community health worker. These workers then, once they have that request, try and locate the patient as best as they can. Some patients are a little bit harder to find than others, but they usually are amazing at what they do, and they've helped us tremendously trying to get our follow-ups. So once they have the patient, they will then go to the patient's house or find them wherever they can and help counsel the patient and educate on the importance of their mammogram or any type of follow-up that they do or that they need. Our community health workers, like I said, have been excellent at helping us. We have had some patients who are really hard to get in for their mammogram or anything. And so it's been great. They're a great tool for us to use to help keep in contact with our patients. So patient education, we have various ways that we help educate our patients. Some of them are verbal information given at the time of their mammogram. That will kind of say, hey, you are due, or that you, thanks for coming in for your mammogram. Typically, you'll get your letter in the next week or so. If you don't receive your letter, feel free to call me. I will send you another one. I also tell them that you're typically good for another year. If I needed any follow-up, I would call you in the next couple of days. Just kind of a few ways that we give education here. We also have stats and fact sheets, and these are given in the goodie bags to our patients at the time of their mammogram. And then our providers are excellent here at Red Lake. They also help us relay information to our patients at their clinic appointments. They are great at saying, hey, you are due for a mammogram, please go see them, or this is anything. If they talk about breast density or anything, our providers are great to kind of helping patients navigate through that. So these stats and fact sheets that we give here at Red Lake, they also are given in our goodie bag. These sheets are given to help communicate the signs and symptoms of breast cancer. If any patient has any random symptoms or anything that feels a little off to them, these sheets are a great way to kind of help say, hey, this is something to come get looked at for, or if you're having anything that just doesn't feel right, please come see your doctor or come see us in the mammogram department. These sheets are also help to show the breast density kind of facts and everything. Some patients don't quite understand what that means. And so these sheets kind of help them understand, hey, if you have something that says that you are dense, or that's what your letter says for you, this is kind of what that means and everything like that. We also give statistics about breast cancer in Native American women, just to kind of personalize it to them, to kind of show that we do care about their health. And this is some stats about breast cancer in your population. Incentives. So at Red Lake, we do help to give incentives to our patients who complete their mammogram. What they do is they get goodie bags after a mammogram with those stat sheets, a cute little pen and notepad. And we purchase those here in our radiology department. Those gonna help for some reason. They really are great to helping us get our patients to come back for their mammogram and keep doing them each year. Also in October, for our Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Red Lake, we also do a large drawing for all the women who completed their mammogram in the last about 15 to 18 months. These are a great way to help get more patients in for their mammogram, kind of keep them coming back and saying, hey, we appreciate you coming back and taking the time to come see us. Here is a big drawing that you can be entered into. And for these, they really help get women to come back, and they also help to spread more awareness on the importance of mammograms and breast cancer. So with these incentives, we receive them from our local tribe is the main way that we receive all these incentives. We also send out donation letters to local businesses here in town just to see if anybody's willing to donate. We usually have a great turnout for this. All our businesses are excellent. They're helping us give incentives to our breast cancer and spreading awareness. We also have worked with the Native American Outreach Program through the Mayo Clinic, and they have made generous donations to us, such as bars of soap that are made from a native company and little goodie bags to go with them. So these we put in their goodie bags at the end of the mammogram once they're all done. And this is just kind of another way to help increase and spread awareness for breast cancer and then help to get women back in to come and see us for more mammograms. Trust is a very important part at what we do here at Red Lake. We try to build trust between our staff and the patients, and is very essential in the mammography department here at the Red Lake Hospital. We try to have a really good rapport with our patients, and we always try to greet them with a smile. And this helps us to allow our patients to feel more comfortable with us and willing to help them relax a little bit and complete a mammogram. We also build trust with our patients by calling patients to schedule when they need a follow-up, not that it's on them to remember and that we care about them and want them to come back. Building trust also helps us to keep lines of communication and answering any questions open that any patients would have. Kind of lets them know that, hey, we also care about you. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, anything like that. We also try to keep them informed of any next steps that are needed for their care. Just kind of shows them that here's what to do next, and here's kind of what you can expect from us and or a different site that we send you to. So compliance here at Red Lake, we do work really well with our lead interpreting physician, and we also try to build a high quality program in accordance with our MQSA and the ACR guidelines. For our compliance with MQSA, what we usually do is host at least a yearly Zoom meeting for our radiologist and the mammography technologist. So during this meeting, what we do is we pick out about 2 to 3 different patients' images that each technologist performs, and we kind of go through them with the radiologist. They'll critique us, they'll give us feedback on what we can improve on, what looks great about the mammogram, and anything like that. This really helps us as technologists to know what the radiologist is looking for in a good image, or what is something that we can work on for bettering our patients. And our mammography lead technologist and other technologists, we also do a quarterly review of each other's images for our quality assurance program. This assures that we keep our images of great quality and that they're always in compliance with our physician. We try to make sure everybody's doing everything. If we notice any trends, we try to kind of talk about them right away before they go to our physician. Another way that we stay in compliance is that we review our technologist repeat rate. We do this quarterly, and this also helps to ensure that we are taking high quality images the first time around. We keep our proper positioning, and it also helps us keep our repeat rates lower and within the limit that we set for ourselves and that MQSA has. We also have the oversight of our radiology supervisor as well as the clinical director of the hospital. They are excellent about going to if we have any questions, if we have anything going on. They help to ensure that our mammography QC is done correctly and that we do take high quality images with proper positioning. And they also help us to keep in compliance with everything that we need for our MQSA and our ACR standards for the program that we have here at Red Lake. At Red Lake, we do have access to care. So what we do here is we provide great access to care for patients, and then we provide in-house transportation for those who aren't able to find a ride to their appointments. This has been a great tool for us in helping. Some patients don't have a vehicle, aren't able to come in all the time. So our transportation are great about helping get patients to and from their appointments. This is utilized on a daily basis for us. Our patients are really good about saying, hey, I don't have a ride. Can you get me to transportation? And then we'll set up a ride and get you in. Also, when a patient has a diagnostic mammogram or ultrasound, or they are in need of specialized views, we try to do all of those, everything that we can in-house. We try to do everything here. It just keeps patients, it's easier for them to have all their images and everything, all the follow-up tracking in one place. Our nearest hospital to us is about 40 minutes away, and not everyone has access or is able to get there. So keeping everything here as much as we can is great. It really makes patients kind of help build that trust up again and everything like that. However, we aren't able to do any biopsies here at the Red Lake Hospital. So patients who do need a biopsy are sent out to an outside facility where they get that done. All of their follow-up care, all their images are sent down to that outside facility, but we try our best to do everything that we can here. We do have excellent support of our program here at Red Lake. We do have great support from our medical staff, such as our nurses and our doctors here at the hospital. They are great at helping us keep up our compliance rates and keep patients informed of follow-up care and anything that is due. What we do here at Red Lake is we use a catch-in-clinic system, as I like to call it, to inform patients that they are due for our mammogram. So what I usually do for that is I create a list of the technologists, a list of all the patients who are scheduled to come into the clinic that day, such as they're coming to see their provider, they're going to the dentist or their eye doctor. And what I'll do is I will message the providers and say, hey, this patient's on your schedule at this time. They are due for their mammogram. If you are able to, or remember, please send them down for a mammogram and tell them to come by and see me. Our providers are excellent. Our nurses are great at helping us catch those patients or relay any information that any patient has missed or anything like that. They really help to counsel on the importance of our yearly screening mammograms or any follow-ups that is needed. All right, and this is the end of my slideshow here. This is me, my receptionist, and then my radiology supervisor here at the Red Lake Hospital, just kind of showing you a little bit of our mammography room. We will kind of now open up the chat for any questions that anybody has.
Perfect. Katie, you can stop sharing your screen and I will share mine. We do have a question in the chat and we have some Q&A questions as well. 1 second. Okay, so question number 1, is your radiologist on site?
Our radiologist is not on site, so they are a teleradiologist. We work very closely with her. I email her probably almost every day about any questions we have about a certain mammogram or a diagnostic mammogram that we do. So no, they are not on site, but we work very, very closely with her and also ensuring that we are in compliance and doing everything that she would like us to.
So that kind of leads us into the next question in the chat. So you are doing diagnostic mammo in clinic. Do you have a radiologist on site? We already answered that. Do you want to touch base on the diagnostic portion?
Yeah, so I do also do diagnostic mammograms here in the clinic. We don't have a radiologist on site, like I said, but what we can do is I will send a text to our radiologist and say, hey, I have this patient coming in. Can you please look at her images and then let me know if there's anything else or if this is exactly what's needed. So she'll kind of look at them really quick and then say, yep, everything looks good, patient is good to go. So after that, then she'll read them at night usually. And then I kind of call the patient the next day and let her know. But yes, I do diagnostic mammograms here in the clinic. If they do need to have a biopsy for any reason, they would be sent to an outside facility, but I try to do everything that we can here in the clinic.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand that right. When you do have a patient there for a diagnostic, after you do the images, you do the ultrasound images, you talk to the radiologist and make sure that she has all the images that she needs prior to sending that patient?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I make sure she has everything she needs before the patient leaves.
Okay, perfect. Yes, we did video, or we did video this, so we can share the PowerPoint for sure. Lucinda, in-house transportation. Katie, can you share more information on in-house transportation?
Yeah, so at our clinic and hospital, we have a transportation department. So I believe that is through the tribe, I want to say. So they do have people who are transportation. So they will go out, go pick up patients and kind of bring them back to their appointments here or kind of anywhere that is needed here in the hospital. So that is kind of scheduled in our transportation department. We have a separate department for that. And that's kind of how that works.
Okay. Another question in the Q&A. Why do you document no-shows? It seems like a lot of extra work.
I document a lot of no-shows to kind of let the doctors and nurses and any other staff know that the patient didn't come to their appointment. It's also a great way for myself and my other technologists here in the department to know, hey, the patient has no-showed about 3-4 times. Maybe we'll give them a little break and then try again in a month or two. It also lets the doctor know, hey, we are trying to get this patient to come in. They are being difficult or it's hard to get a hold of the patient. It just lets everybody know that we are trying to do our best to get them in, or it's just not working very well.
Okay, next question. What type of mammogram is recommended for women with dense breasts?
For women with dense breasts, we recommend just a regular screening mammogram. However, in our results of the patient, our radiologist may also recommend a breast ultrasound, which is just an extra screening for the patient. It kind of allows them to see a little bit different within the breast area. So our radiologist will recommend them. But we typically recommend the exact same mammogram as anybody else.
And in Red Lake, do you do 3D mammography?
Yes, we do. So all of the mammogram, all of the screening that we do is always 3D mammograms.
Okay. A question. How many of the provider reminders end up showing up in a year if you track that information?
That is kind of hard to say. Some days are great, some days are not as good. It also kind of depends on the patient. What I would say is at the very least about a quarter to about a half of the patients that we have the doctors remind that they come over. Some patients are really good. Some patients just don't want to get their mammogram done. So it really just kind of depends on the patient.
Okay. Next question. Do you utilize a different specific tracking software besides the EHR for reminders such as 6-month follow-ups?
Yeah, so that is also done in MagView. MagView has been great for that. It will tell me the date a patient is due. You can select and differentiate the type of follow-up that is needed. So MagView is great for that and reminders as well.
Okay, next question. Cost of MagView. Katie, do you have any idea what the cost of that program is?
I do not. I don't know any of the cost part of it.
Okay. Another question. You do a lot of remind relatives. You do a lot to remind relatives they are due for a mammogram and follow-up appointment. Calls. What is your no-show rate? Have you found the main reason they do not make their appointment? That's a great question.
My no-show rate, I'm not quite sure at the moment, but I know it is, I think our standard is trying to be under 21% for a no-show rate. And I want to say our last quarter, we track our no-show rate quarterly. Our last quarter, we were under 21%. I want to say we're about 18, sounds about right. So we do kind of track our no-show rate. One of the main reasons that I found that they don't make it to their appointment is simply they don't want to, or they refused. That's kind of one of the main things that I have seen. A few others are they have travel difficulties or they forget about their mammogram. So with them forgetting, kind of what I do is try to make that reminder call again. It lets them know, hey, we did set up an appointment a few days ago or a week ago. Just reminding you of your appointment. I have found that has lessened our no-show rate quite a bit. But the main reason is they simply just refuse and don't want to do it.
Okay. Alberta shared the link for the course evaluation in the chat. Make sure you grab onto that. She also shared the PowerPoint. We do have a few more questions here. She did say the recording will be made available at the HPDP website next week. Here's another great question. Have you had any issues with staffing? We find it very hard to recruit.
Yes, right now we are a little short-staffed, but it just kind of depends. We are pretty remote actually up here in Red Lake, so sometimes it is a little bit harder to get people to come up here, but we are actually in the process of hiring another couple staff here, so we are getting back. But yes, staffing is not very easy around here, which makes kind of our scheduling of mammograms and ultrasounds a little bit difficult, but we try our best and do whatever we can.
Okay. What is your process for BI-RADS 0 and getting the patient back in for more imaging?
So first what I do is I document that they are a 0. I make a note in the patient's chart, and then I have our provider put in the orders that are needed for their BI-RADS 0. And usually either the nurses are great about calling patients, but I also call them as well and say, hey, I just did your mammogram. Our doctor sees a spot that she wants to take an extra look at, or we need to repeat a picture. And I call them and kind of let them know, walk them through it, and then ask to schedule and get them as soon as they can, whenever typically works better for them.
Okay. Let's see. What if we don't have the tabs that you showed in EHR to document phone calls or the letter communications?
Those tabs in EHR are set up by our clinical applications coordinator. And they're the ones who can kind of help set everything up for you at your hospital or be more specific to you and your site. Ours here at Red Lake have been excellent about helping us tailor everything to kind of what we need them to. So I would talk to your clinical applications coordinator.
Okay. Do you include information on breast density, such as dense or not dense, and what it means in the patient's mammal result letter?
Yes, so we are required by law in Minnesota, we are required to share that the patient is dense or they aren't dense, and these are usually shared in their letter. In their result letter, it may also say we might recommend you for a mammogram or an extra screening tool, just to kind of help make sure that they are getting the best care and that we aren't seeing anything that looks like cancer. This is all also done in MagView. And within our MagView and the letter that is sent to the patient, if the patient is a dense breast patient, they will get the letter saying they are dense. If they are not, their letter is tailored to them, saying it doesn't have anything about breast density on it. So yes, we do differentiate between if they are dense or not dense, and it also is in the patient's letter.
Okay, and is that a report you can pull from MagView? Like how many of your patients have dense breast?
Yes, yep. That is another report that we can pull. It'll kind of show how many dense breasts we had, everything like that. Yep.
Okay. And then this is the last question that I have that has come in. So if anyone else has any questions, make sure they put it in the chat or the Q&A box. How do you handle a difficult or anxious patient who may be uncomfortable during the mammogram?
So what we do, we have little lavender scent stickers that we have found to help. These help patients kind of relax throughout their mammogram. It just kind of helps them feel a little bit more comfortable. Also, what I let them do is I try to give them as much reassurance as I can and what they need. I tell them, hey, I'll make this quick for you. I'll get you in and out. I know it's not fun to be here. I'm not saying I'm super excited to do your mammogram either, but I will work with them as best as I can to try to help calm their nerves. I do also try to just kind of lightly touch their shoulders, saying, hey, just take a breath if you need to. If you need to take a minute and relax, you sure can. I just try to help them relax as much as they can here.
Okay. Awesome, Katie. So much great information. Can you send the link to where you order the lavender stickers?
Yes, I believe I can send that out.
Do you happen to remember what the company name of that is?
I don't at the moment, but I know I can find it out.
Okay. Elizabeth, I will get you that information separately for sure, if not to the whole group. Hang on, I'm just writing your name down. Actually, I've seen those when I had an MRI. They gave me that option, and they also, I believe, had it in peppermints. There was a couple different options, so that was cool. Does anyone want to come off mute and ask another question? Please feel free. Also, I am going to type Caitlin's email address if you wanted to reach out to her specifically with questions. It's caitlin.blowers@ihs.gov. All
Hello.
right. Oh, go ahead, Alberta. Oh,
This is Paula Carter. Just a quick question. In terms of incorporating, the Red Lake Native culture into your mammogram screening and marketing, do you utilize any specific cultural information on your marketing tools or your flyers or anything like that?
Yes, so the flyers that I give out are actually from the American Indian Cancer Foundation. I have found they have been excellent at giving us specific information like statistics and everything on mammograms and women with breast cancer and everything like that. So the American Indian Cancer Foundation is a great tool to use for some of those flyers that we use.
Okay, great. Thank you, Caitlin.
Yep.
that kind of brings up another question. You said that you work with Mayo Clinic in Rochester. Do they
Mhm.
provide any outreach for you as far as like video type things or different flyers?
Yes, they are great they also provide the flyers. They provide ones that are signs and symptoms of breast cancer. So they provide those. They also provided the donation for the soaps, but they are a great tool that we also use to help kind of increase our outreach to everybody here in our population and also help with everything to increase signs and symptoms of breast cancer. They are great to help with any of that.
Okay. That's great. Any other questions? Does anyone want to come off mute and ask anything else? We just have a couple minutes left here.
So I do have a question. We were told that the standards had changed and we could no longer do the diagnostic mammos in clinic because we needed a radiologist on site. And so I'm kind of confused because you're doing them and then they're going electronically to your radiologist who's reading them either that day or that evening.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't.
So what I have found, we actually just had our MQSA inspection back in August. And we have here at Red Lake, we've never had a radiologist that has been on site for any of our mammograms or diagnostics or anything. I did also do some research into the MQSA website, their policies, and then the American College of Radiology policies as well. I have not found anything that is specific that says you cannot do any mammograms or any diagnostic mammograms if your radiologist is not on site. I have asked that, I have made sure that we're all good that way. And we've never been cited for anything like that. MQSA has never said anything to us, so I do follow that. I just try to make sure every time they come that, hey, we're still good with everything as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Any other questions? Just make sure that you do the evaluation link. The deadline is the 7th. You'll need that to get your CEUs. It's on the screen right now. Alberta also put it in the chat, so you can scroll back up to find that. Alberta, is there anything that we missed today? Oh, I just see, actually, I'm seeing, now that I'm in the chat, I'm seeing Alberta's question. How often do you update your patient medical record to reflect current user?
I usually update it every time I make a phone call, I send a letter, they do have their mammogram done. I update it as soon as I talk to the patient or complete their mammogram. So I typically do it that same day that I talk to them. And our nurses are great also about updating everything, and our doctors at the same day that they see them, talk to them, anything like that.
Oh, and Lisa, you're awesome. It's Beakley Medical, and it's Eliquil Aromatabs. Thank you for putting that in the chat. That's awesome. One more. Do you know of any active grants regarding mammograms that are available?
We actually just received a grant here at Red Lake from the American Indian Cancer Foundation. I know it was you had to sign up, and they took about 15 hospitals, I want to say. So we got a grant to also help with our breast cancer awareness month that we do. So they gave us some fun little t-shirts, some fun little goodie bag stuff that we kind of give to our patients, and that we will use for our big drawing that we have here at the end of October. So I know the American Indian Cancer Foundation, I believe it was the Indigenous Pink, is their kind of campaign for this year. And that's kind of the grant that we just received here. And that is kind of the one that I know about.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you, Caitlin, so much for all this information. And if anyone has any specific questions, reach out to Caitlin or reach out to Alberta. Thank you all so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.